Chapter 37. How Margrave Reudeger was slain. The strangers had done full well at dawn. Meanwhile Guthlund's husband came to court. Bitterly faithful Reudeger wept when he saw the grievous wounds on either side. "Woe is me," quoth the champion, "that I was ever born, sith none may stay this mickle grief. However fain I would make for peace, the king will not consent, for he seeth ever more and more the sufferings of his men." Then the good knight Reudeger sent to Dietrich, if perchance they might turn the fate of high-born kings. The king of Bern sent answer, who might now forfend. King Etzel will let none part the strife. Then a Hunnish warrior, that saw Reudeger stand with weeping eyes, and many tears that he said, spake to queen, "Now behold how he doth stand, that hath the greatest power at Etzel's court, and whom both lands and people serve. Why have so many castles been given to Reudeger, of which he doth hold such store from king and fief? Not one sturdy stroke hath he dealt in all this strife. Methinks he recketh not how it fare here at court, sith he hath his will in full. Men say of him, he be bolder than any other wight. Little hath been seen in this powerless days." Sad in heart the faithful vassal gazed at him whom he heard thus speak. Him thought, "Thou shalt pay for this, thou sayest, I be craven, and hast told thy tale too loud at the court." His fist he clenched, then ran he at him, and smote the Hunnish man so mightily, that he lay dead at his feet full soon. Through this King Etzel's woe grew greater. "Away, thou arrant coward," cried Reudeger, "forsooth I have an hour of grief of pain. How dost thou taunt me, that I fight not here? Certes, I have good cause to hate the strangers, and would have done all in my power against them, had I not led the warriors hither. Of a truth I was their safeguard to my master's land. Therefore the hand of me, O wretched man, may not strive against them." Then spake Etzel the noble king to Margrave, "How have ye helped us, most noble Reudeger? We have so many fay in the land, that we have not need of more. Full evil have ye done." At this the noble knight made answer, "Forsooth, he grieved my mood, and tweeted me with honours and the goods, stood store of which I have received from thy hand. This hath cost the liar dear." The queen too was come, and had seen what fortune to the Huns through hero's wrath. Passing sore she bewildered it, her eyes grew most as she spake to Reudeger. "How have we deserved that ye should increase the sorrows of the king and me? Hitherto ye have told us that for our sake ye would risk both life and honour. I hold full many warriors accord to you the palm. Let me mind you of your fealty, and that ye swore, when that ye counselled me to Etzel, good knight and true, that ye would serve me till one of us should die. Never have I, poor woman, had such great need of this. There's no denying that I swore to you, my lady. For your sake I'd risk both life and honour, but I do not swear that I would lose my soul. 'Twas I that bade the high-born lordlings to the feast." Quoth she, "Bethink thee, Reudeger, of thy great fealty, of thy constancy, and of thine oaths, that thou wouldst ever avenge mine injuries and my woes." Then said the Margrave, "Seldom have I denied you aught." Mighty Etzel too began implore. Upon their knees they sank before the knight. Men saw the noble Margrave stand full sad. Pitiful the faithful warrior spake, "O woe is me, most wretched man, that I have lived to see this day. I must give over all my honours, my fealty, and my courtesy, that God did bade me use. Alas, great God of heaven, that death will not turn this from me. I shall act basely and full evil, whatever I do or leave undone. But if I give over both, then with all people blame me. Now may he advise me who hath give me life." Still the king and queen, too, begged unceasingly. Through this the warriors must needs thereafter lose their lives at Reudeger's hands. When the hero also died, ye may all hear it now, that he departed him full pitifully. He wist that it would bring him scathe and monstrous woe. Gladly would he have refused the king and queen. He feared full sore that if he slew but one of the strangers, the world would bear him hate. Then the brave man addressed him to the king, "Sir king, take back again all that I have from you, my land with its castles. Let not a whit remain to me. On foot will I wander into other lands." At this King Etzel spake, "Who else should help me then? I'll give thee land and all its castles as thine own, that thou mayst avenge me on my foes. Thou shalt be mighty king at Etzel's side." Then answered Reudeger, How shall I do this deed? I bade them to my house and to my home. In friendly wise I offered them both food and drink, and gave them gifts. How may I counsel their death? People will lightly ween that I be craven. No service of mine have I refused the noble lordlings and their men. Now I rue the kinship I have gained with them. I gave my daughter to Grisler, the knight. To none in all the world could she have been better given. For courtesy and honour, for fealty and wealth, never have I seen so young a prince of such right courteous mind. Then Kriemhild spake again, Most noble Reudeger, take pity on our griefs, on mine and on the king's. Bethink thee well that king did never gain such baneful guests. To the noble dame the Margrave spoke, Reudeger's life must pay to-day for whosoever favours ye, and my lord have shown me. Therefore must I die. No longer may it be deferred. I know full well that my castles and my lands will be voided for you to-day through the hand of one of these men. To your mercy I commend my wife and children, and the strangers who be at Bechlaren. Now God requite thee, Reudeger, spake the king, and both he and queen grew glad. Thy people shall be well commended in our care. For mine own weal I trust thou shalt go unscathed. Etzel's bride began to weep. Then body and soul he stalked upon the venture, and he spoke, I must perform what I have vowed. Alas for my friends, for I am loth to fight. Men saw him go sadly from the presence of the king, and close at hand he found his warriors standing. He spake, Ye must arm you all, my men, for alas, I must encounter the bold Burgundians. They bade the squires run nimbly to where lay their arms, whether it were helm or buckler. 'Twas all brought forth to them by their miney. Later the proud strangers heard told baleful tales. Reudeger was now armed, and with him 500 men. Thereto he gained 12 champions, who would fain win renown and stress of battle. They wist not that death drew near them. Then Reudeger was seen to march with helmet donned. The Margrave's men were keen-edged swords, and their bright shields and broad upon their arms. This the fiddler saw. Greatly he rued the sight, and when young Grisler beheld his lady's father walk with his helm upon his head, how might he know that he meant thereby, save that it pretend to good? Therefore the noble prince was passing merry mood. Now well is me of such kinsmen, spoke knight Grisler, whom we have won upon this journey. From my wife we shall reap much profit here. Lief it is to me that this betrothal hath taken place. I know not whence ye take your comfort, spoke then the minstrel. When have ye seen so many heroes walk with helmets donned and sword in hand for the sake of peace? Reudeger doth think to win his castles and his lands and fight with us. Or ever the fiddler had done his speech, men saw the noble Reudeger before the house. At his feet he placed his trusty shield, and now both service and greeting he must needs refuse his friends. And to the hall the noble Reudeger called, Ye doughty Nibelungs, now guard you well on every side. Ye were to profit by me, and now I shall bring you scathe. Aforetime we were friends, but of this truth I now be fain be rid. The hard-pressed men were startled at this tale, for none gained aught of joy, that he whom they did love would now fain fight them. From their foes they had already suffered mickle stress of war. Now God of heaven forbid, spake Gunther the knight, that ye should give over your love of us and your great fealty, on which we counted of a truth. Better things I trow of you than that ye should ever do this deed. Alas, I cannot give it over, but must fight you, for I have vowed it. Now ward you, brave heroes, and ye love your life. King Ethel's wife would not release me from mine oath. Ye declare this feud too late, spoke high-born king. Now may God requite you, most noble Reudeger, for all thy love and fealty that ye have shown us. If ye would only act more kindly at the end, I and my kinsmen, we ought ever to serve you for the noble gifts you give us, and we brought us hither faithfully to King Etzel's land. Now, noble Reudeger, think on this. Oh, how gladly I would grant you, spoke knight Reudeger, that I might weigh out my gifts for you with full measure, as willingly as I had hoped, if I never should be blamed on that account. Turn back, then, noble Reudeger, spake then Gernot, for a host did never give us guests such loving cheer as ye did us. This shall profit you well, and we remain alive. I would to God, spoke Reudeger, most noble Gernot, that ye were in the Rhine, and I were dead, with passing honour. This I must now encounter you. Never did friends act worse to heroes. Now God requite you, Sir Reudeger, answered Gernot, for your passing rich gifts. Your death doth rue me. If such knightly virtues shall be lost with you, here I bear your sword that ye give me. Good knight and true, it hath never failed me in all this need, and many a knight fell dead beneath its edge. It is bright and steady, glorious and good. Never more, I ween, will warriors give so rich a gift. And will ye not turn back, but come to meet us, and slay aught of the friends I still have here? With your own sword will I take your life. Then will ye rue me, Reudeger, ye and your high-born wife. Oh, I would to God, Sir Gernot, that this might come to pass, that all your will might here be done, and that your kinsmen escape unscathed. Then both my daughter and my wife may trust you well, forsooth. Then of the Burgundians there spake for Utta's son. Why do ye so, Sir Reudeger? Those that be here with us do all ye like well. Ye encounter us in evil wise. Ye wish to make your fair daughter a widow for far too soon. If ye and your warriors match me now with strife, how right and kindly do you let it appear, that I trust you well above all other men, and therefore won me your daughter to wife. Think on your folly, most noble and high-born king, and God let you escape. So spake Reudeger, let the maiden suffer not for me, for your own virtue's sake, vouchsafe her mercy. That I should do by right, spake youthful Gristler, but if my noble kinsman here within must die through you, then my steadfast friendship for you and for your daughter must be parted. Now may God have mercy on us, answered the valiant man. Then they raised their shields, as though they would haste to fight the guests in Kriemhild's hall. But Hagen cried full loud aboard the steps, tarry a while, most noble Reudeger, so spake Hagen. I and my lords would fain have further parley, so doth befit our need. What can the death of us wanderers avail King Etzel? I stand here in fearful plight. The shield that Lady Guthlin gave me to bear hath been cut to pieces by the Huns. I brought it with friendly purpose into Etzel's land. O that God in heaven would grant that I might bear so good a shield as that thou hast in thy hand. Most noble Reudeger, then I should no longer need a hauberk in the fray. Gladly would I serve thee with my shield, durst I offer it before Kriemhild. Yet take it, Hagen, and bear it on thine arm. Ho, if thou couldst only wield it in the Burgundian land. When he so willingly offered to give the shield, and now of eyes grew red with scalding tears. 'Twas the last gift that ever Reudeger of Bechlaren gave to any knight. However fierce Hagen, and however stern of mood, the gift did touch him, which the good hero, so near to death, had given, and many a noble knight gained mourned with him. Now God in heaven requite you, most noble Reudeger. Your like will never more be found. Who giveth homeless warriors such lordly gifts? God grant that your courtesies may ever live. Again Hagen spoke, Woe is me of these tales, ye have had so many other griefs to bear. Let complaint be made to heaven, if we must fight with friends. Then quoth the Margrave, Inly doth this grave me. Now God requite you for the gift, most noble Reudeger. Whoso these high-born warriors deport them toward you, by hand shall never touch you in the fight, and ye slew them all from the Burgundian land. Courteously the good Sir Reudeger bowed him low. On every side they wept, that none might soothe this pain of heart, that was mighty grief. In Reudeger would die the father of all knightly virtues. Then Folker the minstrel spake from out the hall, Sith my comrade Hagen hath made his peace with you, ye shall have it just as steadfastly from my hand. For well ye earned it, and ye came into this land. Most noble Reudeger, ye shall be mine envoy too. The Margravine gave me these rudy arm rings, that I should wear them here at feasting. These ye may your healths behold, that ye may later be my witness. Now God of heaven grant, spake Reudeger, that the Margravine may give you more. I'll gladly tell these tales to my dear love, if I ever see her in health again. For this ye shall, no doubt. When he had vowed them this, Reudeger raised high his shield, and no longer he bidded, but with raging mood, like a berserker, he rushed upon the guests. Many a furious blow the noble Margrave struck. The twain, Folker and Hagen, stepped further back, as they had vowed to him afore. Still he found standing by the tower such valiant men, that Reudeger began the fight with anxious blows. With murderous intent Gunther and Gernot let him in, and good heroes they. Gristler stood further back, which irked him sore. In truth, he voided Reudeger, for still he'd hope of life. Then the Margrave's men rushed to their foes. In knightly wise one saw them fall their lord. In their hands they bare their keen-edged swords, the which cleft their many a helm and lordly shield. The tired warriors dealt the men of Bechlaren many a mighty blow, that cut smooth and deep through the shining mail, down to the very quick. Reudeger's noble fellowship was now come quite within. Into the fight Folker and Hagen sprang anon. They gave no quarter, save to one man alone. Through the hands of the twain the blood streamed down from helmets. How grimly rang that many swords within! The shield plates sprang from their fastenings, and the precious stones cut from the shields fell down into the gore. So grimly they fought that men will never do the like again. The Lord of Bechlaren raged to and fro, as one who wotteth how to use great prowess in the fray, passing like to worshipful champion, and a bold did Reudeger bear him on that day. Here stood the warriors, Gunther and Gernot, and smote many a hero dead in the fray. Grisler and Dankwart, the twains, recked so little, that they brought forth many a knight to this last day of life. Full well did Reudeger make appear that he was strong enow, brave, and well armed. Oh, what knights he slew! Thus a Burgundian aspired, perforce it angered him, and thus Sir Reudeger's death drew near. The stalwart Gernot, accouched the hero, to the Margrave he spake, It appeareth ye will not leave my men alive, most noble Reudeger, that irketh me beyond all measure. No longer can I bear the sight, so may your present work you harm, and ye have taken from me such store of friends. Pray, address you unto me, most noble man and brave. Your gift shall be paid for best as can. Or even the Margrave could reach his foe. Bright armor rings must needs grow dull with blood. Then at each other sprang these honor-seeking men. Either gained guard them against mighty wounds, so sharp were their swords that naught might avail against them. Then Reudeger the knight smote Gernot a buffet through his helmet, and that which was hard as flint, as though the blood gushed forth. But this the bold knight and good repaid eftsoon. High in his hand he now poised Reudeger's gift, and through wounded unto death, he smote him a stroke through his good and trusty shield down to his helmet band. And so fair Guthlund's husband was done to death. Certes, so rich a gift was never worse repaid. So fell alike both Gernot and Reudeger, slain in the fray, through each other's hand. Then first waxed Hagen wroth. Then he saw the monstrous scathe. Quoth the hero of Tronig, Evil hath it fared us. In these 2 men we have taken a loss so great that neither their land nor their people will e'er recover from the blow. Reudeger's champions must answer to us homeless men. Alas for my brother, that hath been done here to death. What evil tales I hear all time. Noble Reudeger too must ever rue me. The loss and the grievous wound are felt on either side. And when Lord Grisler saw his betrothed father's dead, those within the hall were forced to suffer need. Fiercely death sought his fellowship. Not one of those of Bechlaren escaped with life. Gunther, Grisler, and Hagen too, Dankwart and Folker, the right good knights, went to where they found the 2 men lying. Then by these heroes tears of grief were shed. Death doth surely rob us, spake Grisler. The youth, now give over your weeping, and go we bite the breeze, that the mailed arm of us storm-weary men may cool. Certes I ween that God in heaven foresaw us no more to live. These champion was seen to sit, and to lean against the wall, but all again were idle. Reudeger's heroes lay still in death. Then din it died away. The hero durneth long. It vexed King Etzel. Alack for such services, spoke the queen. They be not so true, that our foes must pay with their life at Reudeger's hands. I trow he doth wish to lead them back to the Burgundian land. What booteth it, King Etzel, that we have given him whatso he would? The knight hath done amiss. He who should avenge us doth make his peace. To this Folker the full dapper knight made answer, This is not true, alas, most noble queen. Durst I give the lie to such a high-born dame? Then had ye most folly lied against Reudeger, he and his champions be cozened in this peace. So eagerly he did what the king commanded, that he and all his fellowship, they lie here dead. Now look around you, Kriemhild, to see whom ye may now command. The good knight Reudeger hath served you to his end, and ye will not believe the tale. We will let you see. To their great grief 'twas done. They bare the slain hero to where the king might see him, and never had there hap to Etzel's men a grief so great, when they saw the Margrave borne forth dead. No scribe might write or tell the tale of frantic grief of men and women, which their gain show itself from dole of heart. King Etzel's sorrow waxed so great that the mighty king did voice his woe of heart, as with a lion's roar. Likewise did his queen. Beyond all measure they bewailed the good knight Reudeger's death.